Versatile Mage. Chapter 417. Next. Who's next? The crowd watching the duel burst out laughing, not sure if they were laughing at Zheng Jiahui, who could not even cast a basic spell due to his mental disorder, or Mo Fan, who was so ignorant that he assumed that he could take 200 challenges on. Wei Rong had a dark expression. This ruthless student dared call him a gorilla in front of the crowd. Teacher Bai Mei tried to hold back his laughter. They did address him using that nickname among the teachers. Sometimes, the students would also call him that behind his back, yet no one had ever called him that in front of the public. This transfer student was truly fearless. On a side note, Bai Mei was rather intrigued by Mo Fan's decision. Leaving his ruthless remarks at times, his determination to face the 200 challenges was very impressive. He could not wait to see how he was going to last that long against so many challenges. Next ranked 679th, Lin Gui. Wei Rong called the next challenger with a furious roar. He was staring at Mo Fan. Either way, he had to teach this arrogant kid how to control his temper. Otherwise, how could he possibly display his authority as the elemental director of the fire school? A rough-looking, tanned male student slowly approached the stage. He glanced at Mo Fan with an expressionless face. I do admit that as a transfer student, your strength is worthy to be placed in the top 300th. That being said, the ranking doesn't mean much. The duels and real battles were different, too. Damn it, I don't need you to teach me how to fight. Mo Fan's right hand immediately ignited a fierce flame and hurled it forward. The fire burst drew a clear arc across the sky and landed on the student called Lin Gui. Lin Gui had the same look on his face, but his eyes were filled with a hint of disdain. He did not even need to defend himself purposely from the basic spell. When he saw the color of the flame that was flying in his direction, and sensed its abnormal temperature, his eyes filled with terror. Just as he realized he had misjudged the threat, the rose flame, fire burst exploded. The scorching flames lunged at him, and the impact blew him a far distance away. Lin Gui, who was acting as if he were giving sound advice a moment ago, had turned into half a burning man, falling to the ground at the edge of the stage. Lin Gui tried to rise to his feet, but his whole body was covered in burning bruises. He glanced at them in pain and disbelief. What just happened? Someone among the spectators yelled. Many people had wide eyes, the gazes fixed onto the seriously injured Lin Gui. Did he just defeat him with a single attack, and it was only a basic spell? Exclaimed Huang Exingli. Beside her, Ding Yuming's eyes slightly glistened. When she saw Huang Exingli looking at her as if she were waiting for an answer, she explained, he must be using some spirit-grade flame. Its power was a lot stronger than an ordinary fire burst. Lin Gui underestimated his opponent's strength. He didn't even set up any defense. So Sister Yuming also misjudged the situation. The fire burst wouldn't be this powerful, even if it was strengthened by a spirit-grade flame, spoke up Lu Qian. Huang Exingli turned around. Her tomboy attitude instantly disappeared, as her eyes were filled with embarrassment, and a hint of surprise. She seemed to realize that her reaction was fairly embarrassing. Thus she quickly turned back and nudged Ding Yuming with her elbow, blurting out excitedly, "It's Lu Qian. It's my first time watching him from such a close distance. He's so handsome." Ding Yuming was surprisingly calm. She turned around and cast a glance at Lu Qian as she asked, "Ah, you saying that?" Lin Gui was not foolish enough to not set up any defense. However, the armor he was wearing had no chance of resisting the power of a fire burst that was 4 times stronger than an ordinary fire burst. His fire burst has ranked up to the 4th tier. It doubled the power of the fire burst, and together with his soul seed. Lu Qian said with a smile. Ding Yuming quickly came to a realization. Her eyes were looking at Mo Fan with great astonishment. In the entire fire school, those who had a spirit-grade flame would be ranked close to the front. These better flames basically could not be beaten by someone using an ordinary flame. However, in order to acquire a spirit-grade flame from the school, one would need at least a year's worth of effort, not to mention that only those ranked high up would be given 2 pieces of a fire element soul seed. As such, a spirit grade flame was considered rather extravagant to the students of the fire school. Meanwhile, it was said that to cast a 4th tier basic spell, one would need to strengthen all the 7 stars, and each star needing soul essences would cost around 5 million IMB. To rank up to the 4th tier fire burst, he would need 35 million IMB. The money alone could get you 2 soul seeds. I never thought someone would actually spend their money like that, said Lu Qian. Ding Yuming nodded slightly. Regardless of one's background, she had never heard any disciple with a background formidable enough to have achieved the 4th tier of their basic spells. What are you waiting for? Call the next one. Mo Fan yelled at Wei Rong. Wei Rong collected his thoughts and called the next person's name with a long face. Where exactly did this kid come from? Even he, an advanced magician, was not willing to rank up his basic spell to the 4th tier, but an intermediate magician was already so extravagant. Next please. Soon, the next challenger walked to the stage. The person was ranked fairly low, over 900. It was obvious that he had followed the crowd to sign up for the challenge, too. He was not too strong, so he had no chance against Mo Fan's special fire burst. Next please. The next one was a student ranked 427th, a female student whose primary element was fire, with the earth element as her secondary element. The defensive abilities of the earth element helped her to dodge Mo Fan's attacks at the start. Yet, to preserve his limited energy, Mo Fan chose not to use his intermediate magic. He realized that his opponent would be quite troublesome to deal with. After a slight hesitation, his left hand summoned the lightning mark when his opponent slightly lost her focus. The lightning mark struck suddenly as the female student was trying to dodge the unexpected fire burst. It quickly paralyzed her. She could no longer move freely. Mo Fan immediately blasted her down from the stage with a close-range fire burst. She did have defensive equipment, yet the blast of the fire burst was still enough to knock her flying. The female student landed with disheveled hair. She stared at Mo Fan in disbelief. Mo Fan was quite cunning when he cast the lightning strike. He utilized the explosions of the flames to pull a surprise attack on her. Next, snapped Mo Fan furiously, whose anger had yet to disappear. Chapter end. Please guys like, comment, share, and subscribe.